A wild mother wolf is built to survive, to hunt, to endure the unforgiving laws of nature, not to nurture what is not her own. Yet in the frozen silence of a brutal winter, something extraordinary happened that defied every instinct written into her blood. In the deep forests of Montana during the harsh winter of 2019, temperatures plunged to nearly -20 degrees and thick, relentless snowfall buried the land in a suffocating blanket of ice. Even experienced rangers avoided the wilderness during those weeks, knowing that survival itself was never guaranteed. It was in the middle of that merciless cold that a man made a decision so careless and cruel it would have cost 5 innocent lives. Unable to sell a litter of golden retriever puppies after a failed breeding attempt, he drove out to the edge of the Bitterroot Wilderness. Without hesitation or remorse, he left them behind in a simple cardboard box, abandoning them to the freezing night as though they were worthless objects. By the time morning arrived, the cold had claimed 4 of the 5 puppies. Only one remained alive. She was the smallest, the weakest of the litter, the one no one would have chosen. Somehow driven by instinct alone, she had burrowed beneath her siblings, trapping just enough warmth to keep her fragile heart beating through the night. It was this tiny act of survival that kept her alive long enough to be discovered. Just after dawn, a lone wolf approached the area. She was the alpha female of her pack, a powerful hunter known to researchers as FO6, marked by the tracking tag she carried. At 4 years old, she was in her prime, strong and resilient, but she too carried loss. That same winter, her pack had suffered, losing 2 of her own pups to starvation. She carried both milk and grief within her, a combination that no scientific explanation can fully unravel. When she came upon the trembling golden puppy, something unexpected happened. Instead of seeing prey, she saw something else entirely. Instead of instinct demanding action, something deeper urged restraint. She lowered her head, gently lifted the tiny creature in her jaws, and carried her back to the den as carefully as if she were carrying her own newborn. The pack did not immediately accept the newcomer. FO6's mate, a battle-scarred gray wolf known as Storm, circled the strange golden puppy with caution and suspicion for 2 full days. The rest of the pack kept their distance, unsure and watchful. But FO6 stood firm. She positioned herself between the puppy and any perceived threat, shielding her with her body, nursing her, grooming her, and curling around her each night to provide warmth. Slowly, resistance faded. The pack adjusted. The puppy, eventually named Sunny by researchers for her bright golden coat that stood out against the wolves. Gray World began to grow under FO6's protection. Over the next 18 months, something remarkable unfolded, something rarely documented in such detail. Sunny adapted to the wild in ways no one could have predicted. She learned to howl before she ever barked, her voice blending into the chorus of the pack beneath the night sky. She joined hunts, though she could never quite match the endurance of her wolf companions. She played with the wolf pups with a lively, almost reckless joy that both entertained and exhausted them. And every night, without exception, she slept pressed close to FO6, wrapped in the same fierce, unwavering care given to every member of the pack. FO6 did not treat her as an outsider or an obligation. She treated her as her own. Meanwhile, the story did not go unnoticed. A wildlife researcher named Dr. Lena Marsh, who had been monitoring the Bitterroot wolf population through camera traps and aerial observation, stumbled upon footage that initially seemed impossible. A golden retriever moving among wolves, healthy and completely integrated into the pack. At first, she suspected equipment failure, but after traveling out to the site herself, she confirmed the truth with her own eyes. Determined to understand this phenomenon, she began documenting everything. Her research eventually reached the public, capturing the attention of a journalist, and from there, it reached someone who had been waiting for a chance to act. Ruth Calloway, who ran a small animal sanctuary near Missoula, had been tracking the man responsible for abandoning the puppies for over 2 years. Multiple complaints had been filed against him for mistreating animals, but none had led to meaningful consequences. When Ruth read the article and connected the details, the breed, the timeline, the location, she knew this was the evidence she needed. She went directly to the authorities, armed with a detailed record she had spent years compiling. This time, action was taken. The man was charged with multiple counts of animal abandonment and cruelty. Investigators uncovered even more disturbing conditions at his property, leading to additional charges. He lost his breeding license, faced significant fines, and was ultimately sentenced to 18 months in prison. along with a court order to fund a local animal welfare program after his release. It was not perfect justice, but it was real, and it mattered. Back in the wilderness, Sunny's journey continued, but it was not without risk. As she grew older, the dangers increased. Wolf packs are constantly on the move, and hunting seasons brought threats that Sunny, despite her adaptation, was not fully equipped to survive. Recognizing this, Dr. Marsh and her team made a difficult decision. For Sunny's safety, intervention was necessary. When she was around 2 years old, they humanely tranquilized her and conducted a full veterinary evaluation. What they found was astonishing. She was in exceptional health, strong, alert, and thriving. They relocated her to Ruth Calloway's sanctuary while determining the best path forward. Then came a moment no one had planned, yet no one present would ever forget. Around the same time, FO6 had been briefly captured for a routine health check. In a quiet, almost instinctive decision, the research team brought her transport crate near the sanctuary's boundary, close enough for something extraordinary to happen. Sunny was resting in the sun when FO6 regained consciousness. The moment their eyes aligned, everything changed. Sunny lifted her head, her body stiffening with recognition. Within seconds, she rushed to the fence, her tail moving in a blur, releasing a sound that was neither a bark nor a howl, but something entirely unique, something born from both worlds she belonged to. FO6 pressed her face against the crate, and for a long, silent moment, they simply breathed in each other's presence. No words, no explanations, just a connection so powerful that it silenced everyone watching. It was a reminder that some bonds exist beyond logic, beyond instinct, beyond the boundaries humans try to define. A wild predator had chosen compassion over nature's rules. A domestic dog had embraced the wild and found a family where none should have existed. And in that quiet reunion, it became clear that the line between wild and tame is far thinner than we imagine. Some connections do not ask for permission. They simply exist, unbreakable and undeniable, holding steady against everything the world expects them to be.